What is going on, guys? Back with another video. Whilst the market is in fear, altcoins are really starting to struggle. There's a lot of confusion in regards to tariffs with China, and also now fears in regards to the conflict that is going on in Europe. And the thing is, guys, is everyone becomes fearful, everyone starts to panic, everyone repeats the thing. There will be no altcoin season. And again, guys, it's difficult because it's hard to stay patient. But as I've said, you just need to wait until the market conditions are in a better place, which is coming, guys. You just have to have patience. When that's going to happen, of course, nobody knows, but things will get better, God willing. You just have to have that patience, right? So when it comes to altcoins, we all know layer ones make up the heart of coins. This is how all these projects across all these different narratives build on. They need to choose a good chain to develop on. When it comes to layer ones, guys, of course, you've got your big options in the likes of Solana, BNB, Sui, Tron, AVAX. But you need to understand now, guys, these are over 10 billion in market cap. The returns they're going to give are not going to be as attractive as what you can get in a lower cap, right? Now, SEI, which is 1 billion in market cap, in my opinion, at this stage, the best layer one, the best high cap that you can get. Now, in terms of risk, guys, risk is there with everything. It doesn't matter if the project is in the tens of billions of market cap, if it's in the millions, the risk is always there, right? You have to understand that, right? But when it comes to SEI, what you need to understand is that more people are developing on SEI. The amount of value locked is starting to increase close to 500 million. In fact, it was over 500 million. And what you're seeing in the variety of their dexes, liquidity platforms, there is a lot more attention, a lot more hype that is going into SEI, right? A lot more liquidity. People are utilizing the chain. You can see just on this platform on Sela here now, 74 million TVL. And what you need to understand is, right, when you look at something like SEI, of course, when you compare the TVL to something like Sui or Base or Solana, it isn't going to come close because we all know those are going to be the main chains. But SEI has been increasing at a very good pace. You can see here, just how the amount of TVL has been increasing in a market which is still fearful. So you can imagine what is going to happen once the market shifts, once the market sentiment starts to shift. We're going to see a lot more volume come into chains like SEI. Right. So as I've said, even if you compare it to something, like Kronos, Cardano, the likes of, some of the other chains like Ton, it has a lot more volume going through it, right? Even at this early stage. So, some updates with SEI, we've seen the sort of launch upgrade of SEI Giga, essentially an upgrade on the SEI V2. And what this is going to do, it's just going to make the overall EVM blockchain a lot more efficient, a lot more faster, reducing, any sort of latency issues as well. And again, this is just going to be another big step in the development of this project. You can see 50 times faster than the fastest EVM chain in regards to SEI V2. And also it's going to basically reduce any issues in terms of latency as well. So that is really promising to see. You can also see here as well, we're seeing more and more different platforms, different projects starting to build using SEI. One thing that would be good to see is in regards to when we come over to the ecosystem. Again, this isn't for example AOS network or Altura. This isn't just solely this is sort of they partnered with them or they're using the blockchain. But in terms of when it comes to AI projects or deepin projects or RWA projects, when you look at something like TOS on Solana, of course that is one of the main AI projects on Solana. It would be good to see some sort of growth in regards to AI and deepin within SEI. Have some projects which really specialize within AI building on SEI. I think that would be a good way to really get this going and a lot more hype, a lot more attention on it. And again, when that will happen, I do believe we will see AI projects, deepin projects, RWA projects building on SEI. One thing with SEI is it looks like there's a big emphasis on gaming. We're seeing quite a few different developers starting to build on SEI, which is good. It's just, in my opinion, not the right time for gaming. It will come later, but I think would be good to see AI in deepin. I think that is something which could really help. But as I've said, guys, ultimately also when it comes to other use cases, they also have the use case when it comes to, different finance companies, institutes as well, where they can basically access a lot of different features, right? So use case within, offering different financial products, real assets, asset management. So again, there is a lot more potential for SEI. And again, as I've said, I still believe this has a lot more growth in it. Um, and ultimately, you can see here as well. A lot of people are starting to stake this as well. In terms of the daily transactions as well, you're seeing a lot more transactions coming onto SEI. I'll just quickly bring that up so you can see here. You can see here the amount of transactions. It is continuing to increase, even though the market conditions for altcoins are not good, right? So this is a good sign. This is what you want to see. You want to see the TVL. You want to see active addresses start to increase, which is exactly what it's doing. So in terms of what I'm doing, guys, me personally, I'm buying more SEI at this price. I think this is a very good level to get in. Look, very close to the bottom. And as I've said, guys, you do need layer ones in your portfolio. But if you were to choose to invest in SUI at this stage, SUI is currently over 10 billion, right? 10x higher than SEI. And for me, this is a no-brainer for a high cap. Again, of course, the risks are there with everything. But for me, this is something which I do think is going to perform well. You can see just how they continue to develop. The addresses are active addresses are increasing. They're doing more sort of events, more meetings, and also they're doing things like, for example, here in terms of some NFTs that they're launching as well on SEI. So a lot of good things are going on with SEI, and I do think we just need the overall market conditions to improve. And ultimately here as well, this sort of upgrade for SEI Giga is going to be very good in terms of improving the overall speed and efficiency of the chain. And again, guys, some people say, "Oh, it's so many early investors." Again, guys, it's the same with the likes of Sui, Solana. We've seen just how well they perform. Sometimes you need that, you need these big backers behind a project to really push it. And again, this has some of the biggest backers, guys. Multicoin Capital, Coinbase, Circle, OKX, some huge, huge backers behind this. And at the end of the day, guys, they're going to want this to perform well, right? Also, in terms of we've got over 50%, I think 53%. And according to CryptoRank, again, you will need to verify this. Very small unlocks, under 6 million tokens a day, which is very, very small, as you can see, 0.1% of the market cap. So, this isn't going to have much impact on, the price. I do not think this is something that you need to worry about. On June the 5th, we do have some team unlocks, but again, it's only 2% of the market cap in terms of the unlock then. So, ultimately, guys, I think, this is very undervalued. I think it's going to perform really well. And, as I've said, in terms of the price, currently around 20 cents. For me, this easily 10x's, guys. I think for this to, for 10x, this would just need to get to Sui's current market cap. And again, Sui's probably also going to do a 5x, maybe a 10x, but for me, I think 5x for Sui. And again, if you look at SEI, 11 billion would be around, around $2, approximately $2. And then if you were to look at something like a 20 billion market cap, which is around a 20x, you're looking at close to $4, right? Even a 20x is definitely possible, but for me, I think a 10x, 10 to 15x is where you should be looking at for this, guy. So just a quick update on SEI. Very bullish. There's a lot of good developments coming out of it. If you're looking for a layer one which has good potential, good upside from here, for me, this is one of the best options. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for the next video.